Heyo, 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 heyo. Wake up, get your wool into a fluff, grill. Don't. It's time for Minecraft Mwednesday. I'm your host. Give me a second. I've been trying to learn how all these things work. So does this trigger redstone then? Do I have to put it on top? Okay, so then if I did that like that, but then like what if I did it on the side? Does that trigger the redstone? I guess so. Like looking at it, it does. Huh. I'm trying to figure out how this works. I don't know how I made this. Haven't slept this time? No, you should get some sleep. I don't know how this works, honestly. I don't know what I did here. I don't know how I made a repeater. Huh? Huh? I don't know how this works. How does this work? Huh? I don't understand. It feeds into itself? Is that how you make a repeater? I will after stream. Okay, so for those who don't know, I am here today with Minecraft Redstone, which is complicated in my opinion. I have no idea how this thing works. So by the looks of it, this would go in here, provide power because none of the sides are on. It allows it to turn it on, and then because of the logic gate, it makes it so that since both sides are gaining power, it turns it off. Therefore, by turning it off, it creates an infinite loop, right? Twitch chat wouldn't let me chat. Oh man, I thought it was because I finally banned you. Also, I think I went offline. Why did I went offline? Hello? Am I online? My thing said I went completely offline. What's going on? Did something happen to Twitch? I don't understand how this works, honestly. So then, like, can I put this on a tripwire? Like, say I want someone to be shot by 1,000 arrows, right? If I did something like this... Okay, that's too close, I think. Oh. Why does it set you in here? If I chose default redstone ready, and why did it send me over here? Is there a reason why sand is often, like, associated with redstone? Okay, so this has to be, like, on permanently. You have to, like, walk through it. Like, I'm still trying to figure out how all these pieces work. I'll look at a video, but for now, I want to see what I can get intuitively. So, I get what the repeater does. The repeater repeats a signal. Oh, to have no mob spawn? But can't I just do that with peaceful? Because, like, how a repeater works, from what I could get, is that it just repeats the signal at a later time, right? So, if I did this and extend it, right? It'll take a little longer after the button push before it turns on, right? And the more layers I put of this repeater, right? With magic red dust, yeah. The more layers, the longer it takes for delay. And then the other thing I could learn from this is that redstone only has a 15 block extension. So if you go further than 15 blocks, you'll need a repeater to refresh the signal. Sort of like a Wi-Fi signal, from what I could tell. Just repeats the timing. Yeah. So is this normal delay then? There's no delay on this one? Let me see. I should let it trail back. Oh wait, that's stupid. That's the one thing I hate about redstone, when you do that. Okay, so this should go activate. Okay, yeah, so that's instant. That's instant. If you put a repeater in its original position, it has no delay. Okay. Gotcha. It'll extend it 15 more blocks. Okay. But how does chunk loading play a role to this? Does this still repeat even if the chunk is not loaded? Like, say I go like 100 blocks down, right? And I want this to trigger I don't know, a bomb, right? 100 blocks down. Would the redstone signal still work if the chunk is not loaded? No? Okay. So how many... I could try that. But how many does that make? Oh. I imagine that wouldn't be the case, but then my question is, how many chunks are loaded at one time? If I'm playing regular Minecraft, right, on default settings, how many chunks are loaded? That way I know like how far to make a thing. Also, how do I stop time? Let's see. Time. Set. What's set? What's the time? What's the time thing? Render distance? Oh, render distance? Let me see. So if my render distance is 12, that means I could go out 12 chunks far, right? Interesting. Time set day? It wouldn't even let me. Time set day. Is it because I'm not in creative mode? Okay, I think it's because I've accidentally set this world not for creative, right? Give me a second. Does the line show something? Give me a second. I don't know if it shows something. Whoop. Well, you'll see now. Okay, we'll start a LAN world, right? Activate cheats. There you go. Oh, well, you guys see my IP address now. My IP port. Oh, no. Okay, time set day, right? What is the thing to stop time? Not like stop tick time, but just stop time. That way time doesn't move. It's what? A chunk is loaded around player simulation distance by default. It's 10 chunks. Okay, interesting. Meaning 21 by 21 process. Okay. Game rule. Okay, game rule. Disable time, day, cycle, do daylight cycle? What does that mean? False? Okay. Alright, there you go. Yeah. I think that's it. Alright, so now we have that done. Okay, so let me get some of the basics down. So I understand what repeaters does. I understand you hate Twitch, I know. I understand how this kind of works with like the length. So what does a comparator to do? At first I thought it was like a AND signal. So I had to have a signal on the left and the right, for it to activate. But it seems like I had to have a third power source for it. I thought it was gonna be like an AND signal, but it's not necessarily an AND signal. Compares the state to the block to activate, but what about the third signal? Because it seems like it needs a third signal. And then what do you mean by compare the state of the blocks? Does that mean just like if it's receiving a signal or not? Like if there's a signal going in, so that's binary 1, binary 2. Pretty sure it subtracts. Does it subtract? What does that mean? Because I noticed when I turn this on, that's when the signal in the middle goes on. So you have to have power going to it to activate a comparator. So then if I reverse it, that becomes an inverter, right? So it inverts the signal. Put a chest. Okay, let me see. Let's put a barrel. A barrel counts as a chest, right? And then if I put a... No. Do I need to have an observer? I don't even know how observers work, honestly. How does... Okay, so that's... No. No. Okay. Oh, I didn't set my hotkeys. Don't look at the fact that I press C for my... Wait, no, it is set. Why is it not working? Why can I not crouch? Huh? Why can I not crouch? Is there something else set to see? Save, activate hotbar. Let's put that on N, right? There you go. Oh, I have the forbidden. Watch this, guys. Key. Is that the wrong way? How do you make it point at something? Something else set to see? How do you make it point towards what you want to observe? Do you have to do it like this? No. How do you... Put something in the chest? I will, but the thing is, how do I point it at the... How do I point it at the chest? I wish I had a wrench. You were making a point, did it? No, it's not pointing at the chest, right? Because it's pointing away from the chest. That's what the arrow at the top is, right? And that's pointing upwards. Yes, it is. That's pointing at the chest? Really? I'm pretty sure that's pointing away from the chest, isn't it? So it's observing this signal? It points wherever you send a signal. Oh, it's not. So it's not pointing towards. It's not pointing towards what you're supposed to detect. Okay. Okay. So then items are in here, but it doesn't seem like it's observing anything. It did it? Did it? Is it whenever it receives an item? But it did. Oh, I think I see it. Yeah, I see it. So it's whenever it receives an item, it sends a signal. I see it. So like if I put a hopper, right? And I put... Oh, is it whenever it opens? Yeah, oh, it's interesting. I see. So whenever it changes to state, ouch! Oh, my leg! Ow! I bumped into my desk because I like to put my feet on my chair. So whenever it receives, like, say, an item. It's receiving a bunch of items through Hopper, but it's not really sending a signal. Does it have to be like a new item? No, it didn't send a signal. Are you okay? I'm okay, yeah. It's regular. It's ordinary things. Huh. Does that work better with a chest is what we should be doing? Like if I did a chest. Okay, trap chest. Trap chest sends a signal, right? Like if I was to use redstone, this sends a signal. I can't tell. Okay, yeah, it did send a signal. Engineering be like. This is more like electricity, I guess. But even then, it's a little confusing. Like, let's see. That's relief. Thank you. Let me get a regular chest. I'm gonna learn the basics without a video, then I'll move into a video after I learn the basics. Okay. So it doesn't send a signal when an item receives it, or when it receives an item, doesn't it? It only sends a signal when it opens? Wait, no, it's not even sending a signal anymore. What? Does it only work for barrels? Is it because a barrel actually touches it? The hopper blocks the signal? Hopper blocked the signal? How do you mean? Do I need to extend the hopper elsewhere? I didn't know hoppers could block signals, so I had to do this? For when you open the chest? No, it doesn't. I thought the hopper still works, doesn't it? Like if I do this, it still opens, right? Oh, do you mean? No, it still doesn't activate even without the hopper. Honestly, like redstone is so confusing. Look at this, I'm already lost. I'm talking about the signal. How does it block it though? Is it because the hopper presents a signal? Like if I put a hopper here, and then say I put a chest underneath, does that change an item? No, that doesn't present a signal. Is it when an item goes through it from the top? So if I put a chest on top and I do this? No. Okay. So what if I did it the other way around? Like I take a look at it. The better way to explain to observers is when the state of a block changes, it gives a signal. But what does that constitute? Is it when the block changes shape? Just like how when you open a box? But then why doesn't it work for when a chest opens? Nope, nothing's going through. So it doesn't detect items being moved over. But for some reason for chest, unless I had to push it this way, do I have to put the chest that way? No, still no signal. Is it because of the string? Does that string block a signal? Nope, still no signal. So are barrels better for redstone than chest then? Like it seems like it sends a signal when I place the chest, but it doesn't seem to send a signal when I like manipulate the chest in any way. But then I'm just thinking about it. Is an observer with a chest just a trap chest then? Because a trap chest does the same thing, right? Because it detects you place it. The state in front of the observer changes. Interesting. But that doesn't apply to when it receives items then. So if I put items in it, it doesn't send a signal, right? So this is just for placing blocks? So does that work for pistons? Like if I have a piston and I move a block forward and back, does that actually consider observable? Like say I put one right here, I put a piston right here, which, how does this work? There we go. And then I send a signal. Okay, so that does, so basically when there's a change in block in front of it, which means that we could do something like this, right? Let me see. All right, let's see if we could make a repeating, what's it called? So if we want to do something like that, we could do something like this. If we want to make a repeating piston mover, right? We could do something like this. This will cause it to repeat the signal, and at the same time, it'll send the signal back here, right? It's very self-explanatory. I don't think it's very good at self-explanatory. Then we put a signal in there. Wait, why doesn't... Signal sent. How do you connect this to... Do I need to do this in order to connect it? No signal going through? Do I have to reverse the inverse? Straight line? I see. So you can't just like do corners then, okay. Wouldn't this send a signal? Your clock doesn't work? Is that what this is? A clock? Why doesn't it work though? Because wouldn't it work because the signal's being sent, and then since there's no things on the side, wouldn't that in theory work? Wait, why does it not? Does it need a longer pulse? Is that why? Try putting a torch alone. Because the comparator works if you set it, right? So if I did something like this, shouldn't that make a repeater? Is that not how it repeats? There you go. So if I did something like that, right? But that means, also, why did this release? Hi, hey hacker, I'm from Indonesia. Welcome from Indonesia. Is it because the pulse is too short and it doesn't really count it as a real pulse? Is that what's happening here? Do I need to use like, is there a way to extend a signal then? Like how would you extend a signal? Would it be a repeater? Like if I put a repeater beforehand and I delay it, does that create an extended signal? Because I think the problem is I don't have an extended signal. The signal might be too short, right? So then I extend it like this. Does this work if I put comparator right next to each other? And I do something like this. Okay. So does a repeater extend the pulse then? Is a repeater a good way to get a short pulse to make it longer? That way it activates? Because I noticed that because the signal from a observer is too short, the repeater seems to extend the pulse enough that way it gives enough power. Yes? Okay. So then repeaters and observers go together. Can I put a repeater right next to observer so I don't have to put this block so I can make it more compact? Would that work? So you can't make a signal too short. If you make a signal too short, it'll cause problems. Interesting. And then we can like put some musical notes here, right? Try without delay. Let me see. Okay, what happens if I do it without delay? So why is it that why is it without delay? Oh, too fast, I see. So how long does the signal have to be? Okay. Interesting. So that's the fastest that it could be. Ah, okay. I learned something. So that's how you can make use of observers, and observers can observe blocks. Okay. And this is what you guys call a clock, right? So essentially it's a timer. I call it a timer, but this is what would be considered a clock, right? So a clock can just be a simple comparator by itself as long as it repeats into itself on an inverse signal, right? And as long as it has power, it could do like, say, something like this, right? If I decide to do a dispenser, like so, and I decided to load it up with arrows, like this. Okay. Is that not how... Is the signal too short then? Is that why... Okay. So if we did this... It's not feeding? it's not feeding. What does that mean? Don't put repeating. Why is that? Does this not make a clock? Or does this have to go into a repeater like this, right? Remove this repeater and put a simple redstone line straight to the dispenser. Wait, so I do this, dispenser. Does that actually work though? You absolute monkey? I am an absolute monkey. Look, I don't know, I don't understand redstone yet. You are very intelligent. That doesn't make me feel better. That sounds very sarcastic. So if I put a repeater, does that delay the signal? Hey, Isaiah? Isaiah? How are you doing? Let me see. Let me put a signal. No, that's infinite. So this signal is going too fast. So, how would you create an infinite clock then? Like this one would require something going in and out to make an infinite clock, right? So if I essentially connect this to a dispenser, it would fire off arrows, right? Because the signal is low enough that it will actually count as a actual, what's it called? An actual signal, right? But the thing is, if I put a redstone straight into it, the signal of a redstone is infinite and it causes it to go too fast. Instead of feeding itself, put a repeater to slow it. Oh, I understand. Oh, you're what? Oh, I see what you're saying. That's what you mean by a repeater. So that if I did this, wait, invert. Wait. Okay, did I put a repeater, right? Okay, in theory, that's what I thought. Do you watch Dream versus Doc Guayavevis versus Manhunt? I don't know what that is. Is that like a Minecraft one? Try the sides. Do you mean like put a repeater on the sides? Like so? Oh, I don't understand how this works. How does this work? What? It's working, but I don't understand how it works. Do I need a repeater on both sides? No, I just need a repeater on one side because it's a comparator. So as long as both sides trigger, I don't understand that. Yeah? Nope, I haven't heard of it. Remove the middle. I think I did something wrong with these repeaters actually. How do I turn this off? Okay. Why does it do that? Why is the signal like delayed on one side? Oh, because the pero. So then what if I made it instant? Let me reset it. Okay, does this work as a fast repeater? Yeah, it does. So if I put arrows in there, it fires. Okay. So this is like the basic repeating clock if I wanted something to trigger at a normal paces. Right? But yeah, for those who don't know, I'm practicing redstone. I want to learn how to do redstone. So redstone is like something that is very confusing to me, but as long as I can understand how it works. I try to understand how come this works. So comparators need a signal on both sides to activate, right? And then the light in the middle, does that mean... Okay, so let me make sense of what the comparator works, right? I don't know a single thing about redstone. I'm just doing this by logic. But, the thing is like, so basically how this works, if this has a signal and this has a signal, this doesn't present a signal? Or does it present a signal? What does this light indicate? That's what I'm kind of curious, because I could tell that this means that there's power going through, right? And this is the comparator to compare two things. That's invert. So, but it doesn't invert the signal because the signal does not turn off. Same with this. Like I'm trying to define what that means. Remove the two side torches. If you learn a lot about redstone, you become Dr. Redstone. I don't know who that is, but yes. I will become Dr. Redstone. Oh wait, I just realized you said Dream. I know who that guy is. He got to a lot of controversy. I'm trying to like learn the comparator. I think the comparator is like stumping me on how it works, but I'm trying to figure out how that works logic-wise because, let's do this step by step. So power goes in, right? The sides have to receive signals. By receiving both signals, it causes what though? Does it compares it, but then like what if I put two signals? Like I guess I'm trying to think of it as like an AND gate, but it's not really an AND gate because it has a third source. But turning off one will cause the comparator to unsignal. But then how come this doesn't turn it off? That's why I'm curious. Because in that case, if this is this, that means by that logic, that means two signals will cause a invert of signal, right? But then that means in the reverse case, that means two signals would not cause the invert, right? Comparator. How do you work comparator? The problem is now I guess that's true. Let's try a button signal. Okay, so let's try a button signal. Okay, and let's get some levers too. All right, and then let's get some redstones to fill up. All right, so if we say we have a power going in, and that's a long signal actually. What if we do this? Okay. Wait a second. Huh? Okay, so that gives it power, but no. Okay, never mind. Maybe I just need to watch a video on comparators, because comparators are the things that don't make sense, because I don't understand how this creates an infinite clock. Like, I can understand how it works going in here and how this like creates an inverse, but I don't understand what the comparator does necessarily. Like, repeaters make sense, but comparators are a little funky. What am I missing about this thing? Oops. So if power goes in, it causes power to go straight through. If I invert it, power goes in, power goes straight through, as if there's nothing blocking it. But if I go do this, it disables it because there's a source coming in? Yeah. So try to make a 1x2, but with a hidden button. Isn't that very simple though? Like, wouldn't it be, let me see. Wouldn't a 1x2 be something like this? Wait, what do you mean by hidden button? You mean like a button that doesn't like show up? So wouldn't a 1x2 be something like this? It is, but we will gradually increase the difficulty. Okay. Well, I appreciate that you're helping me with this, Sorty. I know I'm not the easiest one to teach with this, but you have the patience to teach Ungo Bungo Brain right now. Let's see. So we need something like this, and in theory, that pushes both of the pistons at the same time. Okay. So wouldn't a 1x2 door, right, in theory be something like this? Right? And if we put like, say, a lever, gonna rip your eyes out, but no problem. Ooh. I like how Twitch does not like that. So that this would, in theory, whoops. How do I invert a? Wait, how do I invert a signal? We need to invert the signal because the signal is going the wrong way, right? Because we need this to be extended out. Okay, let me go ban that person. So we need to invert the signal first. That way the door is extended out. To invert it, we could use one of these with I think a redstone would cause the signal to invert, right? So if we did something like this, we could do, let's see. Let me go figure out the mechanism first. So we do something like this, okay? And if we do something like this, it's already making a repeater, right? But what we need to do is just an inverter, right? So we don't want to connect it. So this will cause the door to go. There we go. Okay, so then with this flat out, it goes out, but we need to invert the signal, right? So by inverting the signal, we could put a redstone torch and turn this. Can I make the 1x1 without invert signal? Can I make it very simple? Remove the lever? Why would the lever be removed? Would a button work better? Also, I put music on, but the music's not like on. I don't know why. Music's not coming through for some reason. Like I could use a button for it, but the thing is, it was sending a on signal, keeping the door open. No, I get that, but the problem is, don't I have to create an invert signal to make the door work? Because right now, as it is, even if I send a signal right now, this means the door is open, but the problem is that that's not the way I want it. I had to send an invert signal that keeps it constantly on, and then I had to send a signal that turn the signal off. That way it opens the door. So I need to have an inversion on here, right? So maybe if we use a comparator, let's see. Okay, I think I got an idea. So if we send this here, we have a comparator here. We have a signal here, right? Signal going through. And then we could do something like this into this, right? This into a lever. So whenever I turn it off, oh wait, inverse the signal. Wouldn't that turn it off in theory? Because two power sources are going through, so that should inverse the signal, right? No, it does inverse the signal. So why is the piston still pushed? Wait, what? Why do you have three power sources? Well, I'm using this as a signal, that way it keeps the door open, right? And this one's supposed to keep the door open, but in theory, doesn't this not? Wait. Why is there still power going through? Remove the first torch you pressed? This one? Because I'm trying to invert the signal, and I thought that was gonna work, because then, like, with that sense, the comparator will compare the two signals, and because two signals are going in, it'll turn it off, allowing me to turn on the door, or go in through the door, while this is on, right? Does that not turn off the signal? I thought that turned off a signal. So if I did this, this turns off a signal, right? Wait, no. How did I turn off the signal? You only need a second torch. Now try to learn there's a weak signal of 2 to 3 blocks going through when it's supposed to be off. Weak signal? Does extending the wire make the signal weaker? Does that make it weaker? Oh, it does. Interesting. So not only do I have to consider this a signal on and off, I also have to consider the strength of the signal. Is that what the comparator does? It compares two different signal strengths? So like if this was here and this was here, this means this signal right here is stronger than this signal? Right? But then how does that work then? What does that do necessarily? Does that turn it on? Does it make it so that the weaker signal goes in? Huh? Oh no, I unlocked a different question. So does it make the weaker signal go in there? Is that what that does? Yes? So that sends the weaker signal? But then what's the point of having two signals? Yeah, the weaker signal goes in. So I only need one signal for this to work. I don't necessarily need two. This is not like a comparison gate. This is just a it's just a converter gate to weaken a signal. But then, like, what does the opposite do? The opposite makes it so that the signal goes here. Only one signal? So if I did something like this, why, what? No, this is where the power signal goes in, right? Oh no, now I don't know anything about comparators. Okay, so then how would I turn off a signal then? If I wanted to turn off a signal, if I want to invert a signal strength, I wish they just had an inverter. If they had the inverter, that would make more sense. Does that not turn it off? How did I turn it off before? Like, there was something over there that I did to turn it off, but what did I do to turn it off? Was it that I had one signal going into here? What doesn't make sense is you're putting 3 torches around it. Doesn't it need 3 torches to function? Because here's my thought process, right? In order for this to work, it needs power to go in, right? That's power. It needs a signal on the left to compare to the signal on the right, right? No? Then how does a comparator work? Does it detect both signals, or? That's what I'm thinking a comparator does, because comparator is in the name of compare, right? You could be half right. So then what does a comparator do then necessarily? Because I noticed that there are inputs on both sides based on the arrow notches here. Try to count the output signal. How would you count the output signal? Instead of trying to watch a 1x1 block? Let me see. So if I extend it, so the signal is weaker, right? So does it stay weak? Is that what you're trying to say? Not on this one, on the, that's input. All right, so not this one, the other side. Wait a second. You're telling me this is input the whole time? Wait a second, is this input? No, that can't be input. Is it? Huh? Have I been looking at this backwards the whole time? The 2 torches, input. The single torch, output. Okay, so that's output. What I'm asking you is to extend the output. Okay, I'll extend the output, right? So output extended, right? And then if we have an input. All right, so what did you say? Instead, try to watch a 1x1 block, extended by 20 blocks. I'm gonna need some more room than this. Man, how does anyone ever figure out anything about redstone? Okay. So like if I did this, input power extended 20 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Put the input further in. Easy I had not. Wait. The signal ends right here though. Oh, put an input on either side. Okay. What does that do then? Is the state supposed to change? Invert? Is it inverted? Go place a block where it ends. Let me see. Besides the redstone. Okay, like if we put a piston. Say we put a piston. Okay. Don't destroy it? Well, I thought the thing is like there's no signal after 20 blocks. It ends at 15. Right? Because when I had 20 blocks in, the signal ends right here, 5 in, which means that's 15, right? So did I not put a block there? Yeah, there's no power. I want to know if the further, let's see. I want to know If the longer signal will go further. Okay. Put it on the side. Not on the line. Interesting. So, side, like this? We might just have to open an SMP just to learn this. Redstone? The redstone SMP, where the signal ends. Okay. Put it on the side where the signal ends. Like that, right? To make 2 ball shafts. You know, I forgot that I'm a creative that I could fly back and forth. I don't need to walk. So, to get a better view of it, yeah, the signal ends like pretty early. Man, how does anyone figure this out? Should I use a signal instead then? Let me see. What if I use a signal? Okay. Let me see where the signal ends. Like if I put torch, redstone here? Does this... Here's what I think it does since you can't follow what I say properly. Yeah, I'm a little dumb. What does a comparator even do? I might have to look it up. I think maybe it's time to bring up the video. Let me see. I'm gonna look up what it says about comparator. Let me go read it out loud. Minecraft comparator. Redstone comparator. It's a block that can produce an output signal from its front by reading the chest. Stupid. I hate this dumb wiki. If the left signal is stronger, the inverter will extend it by how much more left it has. Okay. So what you're saying is that if I did this, but it doesn't extend the signal at all. Does it have to be on the other side? You still got 3 sources? Oh, so you mean like 1 source? No, it doesn't look like it extends it. Not that I could tell. Like, I'm looking at where the redstone dust is coming from. Yeah, it doesn't seem to extend it at all. Change the state of the inverter, you're right. It's subtracted. Wait, what? So how much did it subtract it by? If the strength of a signal is 15, 1, 2, 3, did it subtract it by 12? 1, 2. Did it subtract it by 12? But then it didn't extend it. Is it because it has to be on the other side? Like if I did it on this side, does that extend it? No? Now make the left side further to see if the signal's stronger. Okay. So if I did this, so this made it so we had a signal. Oh wait, no, that's shorten it? No, that didn't shorten it. So if I did this, the signal is 2. So if I did this, that should add 3 more. 1, 2, 1, 2. Is this on? I can't tell if that's on. That's on, right? 3, farther. So then I added 3. Okay. Yes. I'm trying to figure out how would this help me though. 1, 2, 3. That adds 3 more. Okay. It's on. I see it's on, but I'm trying to figure out like what can I do with that? Like I'm trying to think of the practical uses of that. I like how trap signals or something gives a certain signal strength. I see. So then what does the alternative form do? If that creates a subtractive redstone signal between 2 signals, shouldn't the other one create a additional signal? So half an empty chest would give a 7 signal strength? Really? Wait, let me see. Does a chest actually give a signal? Let me see. Does it only give a signal when it's open? So say I want to... How does... Actually, how does... I don't know how signals work. So if I did this... Something has to see how many items. So an observer is what you're saying. Observer? It counts stacks. Okay. So if I put a trap chest here, signal, stacks. So I had to have a lot of stacks then. Like that? Does observers not count item stacks? Now, how to calculate what's inside it, I'm not sure. Because the thing is too, chests don't even send a signal. A barrel does, but a chest doesn't. Like, I don't know why the observer doesn't see the chest. Oh crap, my inventory's full. Trap does it? Because it's not detecting it at all. See? Like when I opened it, when I changed this data to chest, it doesn't actually do anything. Are you talking about the signal from the chest itself when I open it? Like if I did this? Is that even sending a signal? I don't even think the chest is even sending a signal. Does it have to go below? Is it even sending a signal? Is it because there's too many items? Sent you a DM? Alright, let me see. Let's see. Comparator. B is stronger than signal, is stronger than A. Therefore, it's off. Okay. A is stronger than B, therefore C is on. So, what you're telling me, barrel is 100% full? Huh? How come, wait a second. Dropper is 33% full. So chests don't work for, what's it called? Chests do not work for signals, is what you're telling me. Okay, so we had to put a comparator. A comparator, does a comparator work for, let me see. Huh. So wait, you had to put a comparator to a chest in order for it to work? It works with everything, including a chest? Let me see. So a chest by itself doesn't emit a signal, but a chest with a comparator emits a signal, is what you're telling me. So... So then, interesting. Okay, so a chest with a comparator emits a signal, but a chest by itself does not emit a signal from the looks of it, right? Because if I do this, oh, maybe not too close. If I put a chest by itself, right, no signal comes out no matter how much I put in there, right? So no matter how much redstone I put in there, nothing comes in. A full compost will send full signal while empty will do nothing. Well, first off, I need to just learn the fact that the comparator is used for that. So comparator observes is also a semi-observer, right? Because it sends out a signal depending on the state of an item, right? That's my guess. Because without the comparator, these chests don't send signals. And I imagine the same as with a composter. The core principle of the block. But chests don't emit a redstone signal. They only emit a redstone signal if it's with a, what's it called, a comparator. Can I emit a comparator from multiple directions on the same chest? Like say I had this. Like say I have this, right? So I decided to put this. So if I want this chest to emit a signal from all directions, I can, right? Yeah. So one chest full of items can emit a signal that points in multiple directions, and depending on the number of items in that chest will determine the strength of the signal, is what you're saying. Okay. Why would you want that? I don't know. Like, what if I'm trying to do an item sorter, I guess? I don't know. Does that apply to hoppers then? Like, if I take this out and I decide to put a hopper, does that also apply to a hopper? Because then it'll be able to detect that there's a item inside the hopper for a signal? Yeah, it does. Okay. Interesting. So then I could use this to detect whether a signal is going through the hopper, and then it could emit a signal. Like, okay, I'm cooking something here. Can a hopper attach to a piston? So like say the hopper is full and I want to move the piston or the hopper out of the way. Does that work? So then I could do something like this, in theory. So a strong signal coming out, right? So can I put a signal into the hopper to push the hopper out of the way? Is this working? I can't tell. Okay. You could detect if a chest is at 100% capacity, and if it is, you could send something to draw overflow to a lava. Let me see how would you do something like that. So if I wanted to do something like that, right, then I would need you can't stop the signal of a hopper, right? You still haven't accomplished the 1x2 door because I still haven't figured out this dumb comparator. Alright, let's go back and solve this door then. So now that we know that, right? So in theory, based on what you just showed me, right? So if output B is stronger than output A, signal C turns off. So this turns off if there's more signal coming from B than A. So in that case, right, we need like this. So then we have 1, 2, 3. Is there a way for me to like make this shorter? So we could do something like this, right? So we have a signal strength of, wait, I'm trying to make an inverted signal. So I'm trying to make an inverted signal. So this has to be stronger. A has to be stronger than B for it to turn off, right? If I want to send a signal, right? So then if this is a signal strength of what? 1, 2, 3. So maybe I should make it so this is a signal strength of this. Wait. So A has a stronger, B has a stronger input. So can the reverse apply true? Or do I need to put the signal strength right here to the side in order to apply that signal, right? So that means if I have a signal strength right here of like so. Wait, if I had a signal strength like right here connecting this over here, that's a signal strength of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So then I need a signal strength of 6 over here for it to turn off, in theory, right? So that's off. So if I turn this on, signal goes on. Therefore, now we have our 1x2 door, right? So if I have like a door right here, right? A secret door. Like imagine this was a room. I need a lever. How about a button? Does a button still apply? So if I had something like this right here, this should open the door. And then I could go in, and then it closes. Ah, but then now how do I do the reverse? So if I want to do the reverse to prove true, then I need the same thing backwards, right? So I would need a stronger signal on this side to also open the door. Ah, he's doing it! Yeah! I guess that's how it works. So a comparator can send a signal both ways. Okay, so it just compares one signal to the main signal. 1 second, let me turn on my light. It's a little dark, and let me close this door. Okay, so technically a comparator's sides don't need to both apply. The comparator only applies the main signal to whatever signal is coming in. But then in theory, what does that happens if two signals are going in at the same time, right? What happens if that's the case? What happens if we have two signals going? You know, I'd love to see a Hololive girl do this, actually. I think it'd be cuter if a Hololive girl is like trying to figure this out. Oops. Oops, oops, oops. I would love to watch Bee-Boo try to figure it out. So does this deactivate a signal? No. Well, I guess it's because technically both signals are stronger than the initial signal, but then what if I made this signal weaker? Does this apply any kind of like influence on it at all? No, I guess not. Interesting. Okay, so it doesn't really apply anything. Okay. I imagine though, okay, I got a theory here. So this is a signal that's strong, right? What if we moved it, how many signals out? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. What happens if they're equal? If they're equal in strength, does that matter? 1, 2, 3, 4. So if we put the torch here, right? So power's still going through. Okay. So we need a stronger source. So if I move this further, like that, in theory, this should open the door because it turns off the signal. It does. Okay. Interesting. Suddenly the music started kicking in. Okay. But this doesn't do anything because the signal's not strong enough. But if I move that forward as well. Okay, I see. So it just compares one signal. It doesn't necessarily compare more than one signal. It only just compares one signal at all. Right? So even if the other signal does something, as long as it doesn't change the state of whatever it is, it doesn't necessarily have an effect on it. So a comparator is meant to kind of act in both ways. That way, say in the case of a door, you can use both sides of the door to open and close it. Okay, interesting, interesting. Oh, my brain hurts. Okay, so what does the invert do then? So inversion does a subtraction. It's starting to understand. So inversion is just a subtraction to create a new signal strength then. So this is not like an inverted signal at all. All it does is does subtraction. Okay. So then like if I have one signal going in, right? Okay, let's test this out over here. So if I had an inverted signal like this, right? So if one signal is going in with a strength of say, let's see, it's going in with a strength of 15, right? In theory, if I put this right here, this will make 0, right? Do I need to put like one apart? Yeah. Okay, so they can't be right next to each other. So they can't be right next to it. So there has to be at least a block of 1, right? But if that's the case then, if I had a signal that's further out here, like so, we should have a strength of 1. Wait, no, did I do that backwards? It's called a comparator after all. It's called a comparator, but I thought it wasn't very clear what it was comparing. I thought it was the left and side that's being compared, and then this is just a power source. I didn't realize this is what it's comparing. Power force. Yeah, we have a force of 1 right now, right? So, or a force of 0. This makes a force of 0. So in theory, this should make a force of 1, but there's no signal going in, right? Does that not make a signal of 1? Okay, so now there's a signal. It doesn't show much particles. Okay, so there's a signal here, that's what you're saying. No, this one has a signal now. Before it didn't have a signal. But this is a power of 0 because it's too close. So that's a subtraction. Okay. So then the reason I would like to do something like this is because if I want to input different signals, if I want to get signals of different strengths, right? So if I want to do something like this, right? Let's test this out. So if I turn this on, it would give me a shorter length, right? A length of 2 compared to say something like this, which is a length of 3, right? And then in theory, technically it goes by the shortest length. So if I did this, this would be a length of 2, and even if I add this, that'd still be a length of 2 because it's going by the shortest length. Okay, I see. So this is not necessarily an inverter, this is just a subtraction logic, while this one is a comparer. Okay, I think I got it. I think I'm sort of getting it. Oh man. So now I just have to think about the applicable like powers of that, right? Whew, man. 2 blocks learned? Yeah. I learned how to do a repeater, I learned how to do a comparator, and that's like the 2 blocks, the only 2 blocks that matter, right? So now how do we make a 2x2 tour? Like if we wanted to make a 2x2? How would you do a 2x2? What happens if you put a lever besides a redstone torch and activate it? Nothing, right? Nothing. Nothing? Is something supposed to happen? Nothing, because they're both powered, right? So if I want to make this into a 2x2, in theory, right? Okay. I know there's a way to disable a redstone torch. Interesting. So if I want to make a, say, a 2x2 door, how do you get a signal downwards? Do I need to do something like this? No, that ruins the whole thing, right? How do I like put a signal down? Put a torch on a block below. Like this? Huh? What does that even, how does that work? Why does that invert the signal? Oh gosh, no, I don't understand this concept. How does this work as a logic puzzle? With that, you can condense your 1x2 door? How does that work? I don't understand. I don't understand how to apply that, honestly. Like, so, because a torch, does a torch receiving a signal make it signal? No. Do a redstone with only redstone, torch, and lever? You could do that? How does that work? Okay. Okay, we're just going to be lazy and use these stone blocks. So then redstone, torch, and a lever. So if you put a, so if a torch, okay, so if a redstone is on top and then you send a signal below, that causes it to turn off the signal? No, because how does this work? How does, let me go put it here so I can study it. So if I put a torch here and a torch here, that turns it off, right? So wouldn't that be the same case here? Because then that turns it off, right? Also, that only turns on one. Okay, so we need to make it so that a signal goes in. Okay, so this has to be a signal, because in order for it to connect both of it, a signal has to be going in. Therefore, what should we do is that we should have the top be a redstone, right? And then we put underneath a redstone to deactivate it, and then we can activate it via lever? No. Because now I still have the problem here that this should be on and this should be off on the bottom, right? So a lever doesn't turn it off, does it? But it does put power. So does it put power into this if I did that? Put a redstone to the torch below and activate the lever. Put a redstone to the torch below. Activate a lever. No, that doesn't send anything there. I'm trying to create a super flat, but your game keeps crashing. Like, I understand that the redstone would deactivate it. I don't know why redstone would deactivate a block on the above, but... The question is still, how do I manipulate a redstone torch? Because if I could turn the redstone torch on and off, that means that I could use it to turn this on and off. Do I have to go deeper? What? Huh? Why does this work? Wait, what? Well, I guess I got it to work, but why does that work, but then not pointing it directly to the thing? Wait, let me see. Does a torch on top of a block deactivate if redstone signal is being sent to it? Pretty compact. But why does this work? Alright, I need an explanation. Why does that work and this doesn't? Like, does this work? Yeah, so that works. Why is it that sending a signal underneath the redstone torch turn it off? That's a question I have no answer, but that's how it works. Okay, so that opens some things because then that creates an inverted signal. That's how you create an invert signal, because by doing that, I can necessarily create a signal that inverts itself. I guess it changes the state from the block where it stands. Interesting. Okay, so then in theory, now that it's more compact, we could use that to make a 2x2 door, right? Like, say I want to make a 2x2. That's what it is? Man, redstone is like complicated, honestly. Even though we're doing all this, I'm still perplexed by everything that redstone is. Okay, so if we want to make a 2x2 door, right? We'll have to get a signal sent here. Okay. And then say, I guess we'll have to go underground, right? Let's see. How do we connect the signal? I guess the same thing could apply on this side. We'll have to do the same thing here, where this is getting sent a torch, right? And then underneath it is where the redstone signal will be. Did I put a torch over here? Yeah, I did put a torch. So I put a torch down here that causes it to invert right here. Therefore, I would need a signal right here that goes all the way across, right? I'm going to need a repeater for sure. Oh, I do have a repeater in my inventory. Nice, nice. Okay, so then doing this. Okay. Whoops, sorry. I didn't mean to do that. Doing this into that. Therefore, I could do... Wait. Interesting. So I guess that wouldn't work. So we need a block right here, but a block taken out right here. And then we could do something like this, staggering it downwards, right? In theory. Because that deactivates it over here. That doesn't activate it at all, right? So then, in theory, that turns that on, which turns that off. So if I press this button right now, is... What does that sound? What does that mean? Is it too close? By the way, it's not connected to the torch. Okay. Let's see. So I should probably move this to the side, right? Because it's too close to everything, right? And then I'll need a repeater here because it's too far. All right. And then, oh, how do I make this turn? How do I make this turn? Oh, I hate it when I have to make something turn. So now that works, right? So in theory, this is on. Why is this not sending a signal towards this thing? Does it need to be further back? Okay, so it needs to be further back right here. So then we could use a torch here, into a torch here, into a torch here. Okay, so then this goes into here. Okay, so now that that's both connected, this is the 2x2 door, right? Though it doesn't like go immediately. Wait, why did it... What does it mean when it cuts out like that? There's a delay? Why would there be a delay though? Is it because the repeater is on a delay? No, the repeater is instant, isn't it? Why is this one not working anymore? Huh? When it cuts it out, it means it short circuits. You can short circuit redstone? Is it because the circuit is reaching into itself? Okay, let me see. What's causing the short circuit? I kind of wish I know what's short circuiting right now. Too fast? I see. Okay, so let me send a signal. All right, block goes in. Turn this on. Okay, put this there. All right. So then when I do this, block goes out. How do I remove that delay though? Is it because it's too far? There is a small delay, but how do you remove that delay then? Is it because it's too far from the signal? So then if I push the signal over here, add a delay to the first door, so put a repeater is what you're saying. Oh gosh, that means I have to extend it even more here. Okay, so then we could put a repeater here into this, right? My wire work is so messy. Okay. No, that still doesn't solve my problem. That still doesn't solve my problem. Okay, let's see. So then we do this, we do this, we do this, into this, we do this, into this. Therefore doing this. Move this into this, over here, into this, into that. Therefore we have this. And then we could... No, that still connects. That still connects. Redstone can't go two sides? What does that mean? What do you mean that I can't go up two sides? Can I do this to avoid that? There. So now we have it. So all I need to do was add a repeater. So then, why is it when a signal goes too fast that it short circuits? Like, what if somebody like comes in, they're like playing with my switch and they're like, tee-hee, I'm gonna break his system. How do you fix it when it short circuits? Do you just have to reset the torches? Oh, does it reset on its own? Okay, interesting. Ooh, my brain. Both torches went out. Can I add like a sound effect to it? Like a little ding, a note block? Do 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 do. You could. That's very simple though. Adding musical notes. Okay, so that's how you make a 2x2 door, which is interesting. Let me see if I can make it more compact. Because right now that's really big. So if I want to like say hide this into a wall, right? Like something like this. Okay. How do you... I think the hardest thing I have is pointing the pistons. Okay. So then both of these need to receive a signal, right? And we should do the same thing that we did before, right? So they both should have a... Wait a second. I just thought of something. Could I not just send a signal to both of them via the same torch rather than making multiple torches? Instead of making two torches, could I not just send a signal to both of them? Let me use a different block to kind of signify a difference, right? Would it not work that way? Like I could send a signal to both of them, right? So I could do something like this, signaling downwards. Like why would I send a signal using two blocks when I could use a signal to send in the same block, right? Would this work actually? I don't know. I need to do something like this. This still doesn't look very compact. Like, how do I get this to send in? picks up on how redstone works is pretty nice. I still am pretty perplexed by it. Because especially just the wiring is like something that perplexes me. Because I'm just trying to figure out how to send a signal to both these pistons at once. But would that send a signal to both the pistons at once? Like if I did this? Okay, that does send a signal to both of them at once. Okay. So then if I did something like that, you can't do a wiring on a 2x2 block? Why not? Would this not work? Where I send it both to the same one, right? And then like if I put I'm trying to think of this, how this works. If I do this, right? Wire this over here, like so. Just building around redstone seems like a pain. So then I could do this into this, which then I could do right here into this to deactivate it, which means then I could send a signal right here using a lever, and then I could do that, right? Yeah, see, it works. That's my compact 2x2. Sort of compact, I guess. You want at least one blank space between different redstone lines. I see. Interesting. That does make things a lot bigger, but there you go, I did it. You could do the same line for one redstone. So I don't necessarily have to make two redstone lines over here like I did before. I could make it compact, do that. Now the question is, how do I cause it so I could close it on the same side? Like I should probably have a way to close it on the other side as well. Would I just do a repeat of what I did here? Right? So then if I did something like this, but that'll connect this wire. That's the thing though. I would have to elevate it, one. That way it doesn't connect to that line, right? And then I could use this to go around, right? That connects, right? That connects, okay. Then I could use this to go around right here, like so. And then I could put the lever a little bit further back, okay? Then I could do the same thing here with the redstone torch into, well, maybe I should put it 2 back. Okay, so then I could do something like this. I can't imagine trying to learn how to do this in survival. Having to make all the materials for it. Oh, wait, what did that do? What? Huh? What was that? Okay. So let's set it on a button instead. Wait, did I do something wrong here? They're both off, right? That means the door is infinitely open. Wait, what did I do wrong that caused this door to be infinitely opened? Did I need another redstone? Because the lever would like pull the switch, but then that means I would have to inverse it. Do I need a comparator then? If I wanted to make the door like infinitely closed, then I would need a comparator, right? It starts with no redstone? Yeah, I'm seeing that. Because I just realized the reason the other one works is because the power is already inverted, right? So I need an inversion of power. Like this would mean the door is closed, but then like if I close that, okay, I see. I'm starting to see what the problem is here though. Because even though I got the 2x2 working, the problem is by default the door is open and the switch actually closes the door. It doesn't actually open the door. Therefore, I would need a comparator of power for inverse of the door, right? Because the comparator would inverse the door in a way that allows me to get the door closed when it should be open. Right? Because like, sure, I could use the lever, but then like if I want to make it like a door that I use a button for, essentially this signal has to be reversed in theory. Unless... Wait a second. I'm thinking of something. I'm cooking. I'm thinking. So this will close the door, right? That would open the door. So what if I had a off signal on the top, right? If I had an off signal on the top, that should in theory make a... So I need to do a double down, right? So I need to go double down in order for it to turn off, right? So that makes an off signal on the top. Therefore, wait, no. because that'll make the door. Okay, give me a second. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to cook. So what I want is the door to be closed by default, right? And I want to make it so that the button, pressing the button would open the door. So what I need to do is reverse the polarities, right? So instead of it being off by default, I need it to be on by default, right? So it needs to be on. So that means I need it to, this would make it off. So I need to go down one more layer to make it off, right? Then I had to use this bottom torch as a way to turn on for the switch to activate. Oh wait, I forgot. It has to be on the block itself. So then I had to do something like this, right? Oh wait, I gotta point it at the block. No, wait. So then I need to do this, right? That way it opens the door. So I need 3 torches in logical. Put a third torch, yeah, that's what I realized. Because then I have to reverse the signal. So then in order for it to work on the same side, on the other side, I would have to use 3 torches in order to make it work the same way on the other side. I'm going insane. This is what they call insanity from figuring things out. Right? You now know how to invert only using torches in a 6 blocks height? The thing is, like, part of the thing that's throwing me off is the fact that this works. Like, I have no idea what reason this works. If I knew why this works, then it would make more sense in my head, right? It's the logic behind it that's making me a little confused. Okay. Okay. Therefore, if I do... Can I do it like that? No, it needs to have 1 block of buffer. So there's always gotta be 1 block of buffer with a signal. Wait, I forgot. Wait, does that mean then I could do it like that? Like if I did like this? No. Okay. So rule of thumb, there always has to be 1 block of buffer for a signal to work. Right? That's what I'm getting from this. There always has to be a... Wait. Why doesn't it open the door from this side then? Oh, it doesn't open the door from this side because what's happening is there's 2 power sources coming through it. So instead of doing it like that, what I need is on this side, right? I need to do it like this. Not like that, right? I need to do it like this and send a signal like this to the original torch, right? Or no, that wouldn't work. That wouldn't work. I should send the signal on the bottom across, right? That's what's causing the problem here. So if I send the signal across right here using this, it'll create the same effect on the door, right? Oops. No? Wait, no, because I put the block here. Ah! All right, we can send the signal like this, right? Does this connect? That doesn't connect because there's a block in the way. All right, let's just theorize right now. So this should send a signal right here, like so, right? And that will open the door, right? So that switch will open the door, and this switch will open the door. The reason why it wouldn't work was because 2 power sources are going at the same time when the switch is on. If you have the owner of Mojang Minecraft, what would you do? Fun fact question? What do you mean fun fact question? He's learning? Oh, my brain's starting to hurt. Guys, it's only 1 hour and 30 minutes and I only know how to do a 2x2 tour. Alright, the thing is too, like, in order for me to actually, like, be able to absorb this, I have to actually, like, do this on a regular basis. Like, I have to make multiple 2x2 doors on a regular basis for me to understand it. That's crazy. 3x3 has a special challenge since you need to do a middle block. Can a piston grab a piston that has a piston with it? Can that work? Let me see. So... Oh gosh, my brain's starting to hurt just thinking about 3x3. Yes? Okay, so a piston can grab a piston that has a piston connected. Right? So... Then, if I had a door like this... I would need a piston right here to grab this piston, right? Like that. So if I did this, no, it doesn't grab the block though. It only grabs the piston. So then how would you grab the middle block then? Because I need to move the middle block. Has to go up, down, left, right, side twice instead of once. But a piston can only grab one block, doesn't it? How would that work? I'm trying to think of how would that work in a 3x3. Because if we have a 3x3, right? Let's just do pistons first, then we'll figure out the wiring, right? So in theory, we could have something like this, right? Like this. So this will grab those on the side. These will grab these on the side. I'm going insane! So correlating the cord to where you are. Okay, so then we got those, right? The middle one can fit easily down below, right? And the top one, same thing applies, right? So then now we have the middle block be the problem. So then how would you do the middle block? Because if we had the two blocks, if these blocks at the sides pull them all apart, so then all of them move out of the way except for the middle one. A 10th piston. The question is, how can we put an inconspicuous 10th piston without it like being so obvious? Like my idea is that we put a piston, we have a piston go out here and it pulls it outwards, right? So it pulls it outwards, and then we have another piston here to grab that block, but then that still doesn't bring it out enough because it has to go down twice. Would it be a situation where I have this? Okay, so I'm thinking, so it pulls it down, then I use a piston to pull the piston out, then I have another piston go in to pull it down? With item someone did? Just checking in. Hey Seal, how you doing? We're learning redstone. Repeaters. There's 11 pistons. But then how would you get the second one? There's observers too. Observers. How would you use an observer? Let me think. Because an observer can use as many as you want. Okay, so that's like the minimum then, what you sent me, right? The question though is I'm just trying to figure out how to do this, the middle piston. Okay. So that goes in. If that goes in, it pulls it out. Right? It pulls it out. It pulls it out into here, causing this block to be right here. Right? Went to Salus, but you could try. Yeah, I'll try to figure out myself. Then I'll get like if I'm really stumped, then I'll just figure it, or I'll look at the video. The reason Hightail got feature crept was new hires appropriating everything. What do you mean by appropriating? Do you mean like they kept on adding too many things? Adapting the environment to them? You just watched the other video I sent on our Discord, changing the game engine. So they had to. Oh, I see what you're saying. So they adjusted the whole engine just for the new hires because they didn't want to learn the old engine. That's crazy. That's so instead of training the new hires, they had to adjust for the new hires. That's so stupid. I wonder though. the highest demand in a new engine? That's even worse. You don't go into a company and demand them to change for you. You learn what that's so silly. I'm so upset about that idea. Okay, so here's my second idea. What if we had a block pull this block back, that way the piston goes in there, right? So this is the one that gets pulled back, right? So then, okay, here's my idea, right? We have a piston pull this block backwards, right? So this piston pulls this block backwards, and then we have two pistons to pull these pistons downward, right? So it moves it out of the way, right? So then we have a piston right here and a piston right here to move it out of the way, right? Just in theory, right? So that way we could have, no, but then it's still the problem that the middle block is still going to be too high. You missing some features? Okay, so let's figure out what the piston works. Let's figure out how all the sticky piston works. All right, so you're saying I'm missing a feature of the sticky piston. So all I know is that it does this. Is there not just two states of a sticky piston? Is there something else I'm missing about a sticky piston? Oh wait, no, could it be slime blocks? Wait a second. I forgot that slime blocks are a thing, because I remember seeing this in everybody's builds. They use slime blocks, right? So wouldn't that in theory push both blocks? Don't use slime blocks? What do slime blocks do? Does a sticky nut piston not work with slime blocks? Oh. Does a piston work with slime blocks? I feel like part of the thing is I don't know how all these blocks interact. They were experts and they felt the need to comply. That's kind of ironic coming from the idea of like, okay, so what do slime blocks even do? The slime block was sticky to the floor? Does it? So then I had to elevate the slime block in order for it to not stick to something? No, there we go. It was just not receiving a signal. So then does the slime block attach everything that it's touching? So like this? Is that how you make a 3x3 door? No. That seems like an easy way. Why not to use slime blocks? I feel like that would be an easy way to make a 3x3 door. Can a slime block work with a sticky piston? Like double the stick? Double the ick? How much blocks can you move with a slime block? Can can I move these blocks? Or does it need to be attached to another slime block? Okay. So then like if I attach more blocks like this, will that move everything? No. Do I need to attach a slime block here? Like that? Would that move everything? Okay. So now I can make like a something like this, and this should move everything, right? No? Is there too many blocks attached? Is that why it doesn't move? No? Too many? Okay, so there is a limit of blocks. How much blocks is that? 10? I'm estimating 10? 9? 8? Probably, if I had to guess how Minecraft works in digits of 8, I would say there probably a maximum of 8 blocks. Should really watch a mumble jumble tutorial. I want to see what I can figure out on my own. Well, at least with your guys' help. Because I think the thing is, sure I could hear it in a tutorial, but if I don't understand it on a base, knowledge, then I won't be able to apply it, if that makes sense. That's why Create works so well with me, and I can figure out a lot of things in Create, because I understand Create down to its bare essence, right? So that's why in Create I could essentially build whatever I kind of want. But the problem with redstone is I barely understand how any of these things work. If I could understand how how items work and understand it to a bare essence, then it'll allow me to build and be creative with whatever I want to build. But the idea of just like doing this is really cool. So I can make anything move. Maybe I can make like a takodachi. Learn how, all right, that. Learn how pistons work before understanding slime blocks. Okay. Exploring how you do it. Does it? I won't lie. Sometimes tutorials make me more confused than actually make it work. I'm more of a, you know how like there's 3 types of learners? You have the visual learner that learns by seeing it. You have the audio learner who learns by hearing it. And then you have the action learner, which learns by doing it. I'm the action learner. So sure, I can hear it, I can read it, I can see it, or hear it, right? But it won't like absorb well unless I actually have it in my hand and I mold it into a clay, you know? I think that's my advice for people. If you are struggling to learn something, figure out what type of learner you are and take advantage of it. That's how I learned art, and it's because not because I read a lot of tutorials and actually listened to a lot of tutorials. It's because I actually like, what's it called? I did it. Too much yapping in my video? I'm trying to be inspirational. I'm trying to explain myself. I'm trying to defend my honor. So that's why I'm trying to figure out how it works. Okay. So what other trait am I missing on the piston? So there's two things. No honor left in the video. So there's 2 states of the piston, right? So we have the push state, the pull state, and the grab state, right? Regular pistons though, they don't attach the item, right? In theory. So the item just gets pushed. Wait a second. Can I do something like this? Where, okay, watch this guys. I have an idea. What if I do this? I pull the block in and I have a second piston on the side, right? And that second piston pushes that block off the sticky piston. Would that work as a theory? Okay. So then on that same note, can I use 2 sticky pistons to reposition something? So if I have this sticky piston go first, pulls the block in, I could have this sticky piston go in here. Can that apply to pistons then? Or sticky pistons? Wait a second, does that apply to sticky pistons then? So in that theory, right? If I have a middle block, right? And I'm trying to move it out of the way, right? Let me think. This is gonna be a very complex line though. Just thinking about it makes it really complex, because then I could do this, pull, then I could use this to pull it in, right? Then I could have another piston right here, right? And this piston could pull this piston out of the way, right? Then I could have another piston down here, right? And this piston can be used to pull the block down, right? And then if I want to do that, then, oh wait, no, the problem is though, it stays sticky. It doesn't come off. Wait a second. Sticky pistons wouldn't stand out of the ground. The sticky piston wouldn't stand out of the ground. So the sticky piston would be flush with the ground? It is absolutely flushed. Something satisfied about hearing that. I said it wouldn't be flush? Stand out of the ground. So then it would be flushed. Imagine if you're walking to a house and you see sticky pistons. Ew, ugly. I guess that's true. So that just reinforces my idea. So that means if that's the case then... Oh, wrong one. I shouldn't be breaking that. In theory, that means the bottom blocks should pull down. The top blocks should pull up, right? Because that covers the top and the bottom, right? So that means there's only should be 2 on the sides? No, that wouldn't work. That wouldn't work. The thing I'm missing out here is the fact that the sticky pistons stay sticky, so they will hold on to the block regardless. What if you put a sticky piston and push another sticky piston? But the thing is, it doesn't hold on to the item that it originally holds on to, doesn't it? So if I had something like this does not hold on to the item, right? Yeah, see? It removes the item from it. Why perpendicular? Hmm? Isn't perpendicular the only way you could go in Minecraft? You can only place blocks adjacent? You can't really do a diagonal, right? Unless you're talking about below? What about parallel? Parallel? Wait. A parallel to push a sticky? When we're saying parallel, do you mean like something like this? But how would this push that? You're so close, yet so far. Because I'm noticing that this could do this, which is interesting, which you could extend, right? And then if I want to pull a block in, then I could do this into this, right? But then like if I want to put the block out, then I just have to do a double signal, right? I said parallel, but the correction is the, oh, so you mean like adjacent, or not adjacent, linear, in a linear fashion. Now with that, what you know about comparators, you should be able to pull the block twice. Does a piston send a signal? A piston sends a signal when it activates? Wait, is that through a comparator? Does a comparator actually, or is it an observer? Is that why there was so many observers in that one sample? Let me see. No, that way. So then when a signal activates, right, if I press this, no, it doesn't send a signal, but I imagine with an observer that would send a signal. Wrong way? Keep forgetting how these dumb comparators work. No, it still doesn't send a signal. Unless we're talking about over here. But I think it needs an observer. That's the thing. Definitely needs an observer. That way it could see the change of state. Right? And then we could put that into here, and that would send a signal. Yep, that sends a signal, which we're probably going to need a repeater. Right? To extend the signal, that way it's not too short. Right? Which could send into a comparator. Okay. So if this goes in, this goes out. So this would output over here because it pushes it forward. Wait, how does this work again? I forgot how the comparator works. Oh gosh, I haven't worked with the comparator in a while that I forgot about it. My brain has pushed it out of my head. Okay. All right. You forgot the delay? That one redstone you place is useless? Is it? You are so close. Wait, why did it repeat itself though? Did you see that? Oh, it's because it sends a signal because of the... Okay, that's interesting. Because it changed state in the last second. But that only gets... Does that get the middle block? I'm trying to visualize this, right? So I'm visualizing it like that, and I'm trying to think that if this is the middle block, let me put a redstone where the second sticky is. A redstone signal? Put a redstone where the second sticky is. That's the observer. Do a fork. You mean a fork right here? My brain's a little stumped. I think it's way too late for me to start figuring it out. You see, Alan? Go ahead. Explain to me and I'll check out the video. I think it's time for me to check out the video. I'm looking at the time and we're about 10 minutes before 9 o'clock. The second signal requires you to be where the piston will be at the final position. Yep, so that's why I said it right here, right? So the second signal goes towards where the piston is in the final position, right? Right now you're always at the first position, meaning it receives no signals to retract a second time. Retract a second time. You're always at this first position, which means it receives no signal to retract a second time. What do you mean by retract a second time? It gets two signals, you only use one of them. Do you mean the second time when this comes out? That for retract? So you're saying that I should have an observer here on the second one? I'll figure it out eventually how to place these dumb blocks. They need to add a wrench in standard Minecraft. They need to add just a wrench. You need a redstone line that goes to where the piston is. Why would I want to put a signal right here? Wouldn't that not work? Right now it's aiming air. Because I don't think that would work, wouldn't it? And plus, wouldn't that cause the line to not contract correctly? Because look at it, it will connect the lines right here. Yeah, and that wouldn't like take a right angle unless I do that. That's a problem with your contraption? So what you're telling me is that maybe I should, if I wanted to fix that, I would need to... Wait, why did I take everything out? It was working fine. So if I did that, I could do this, into this, into this, right? And then you say that if I want to do that, then I should add like some sort of elevated buffer, allowing it to turn correctly into it without it connecting. Is what you're saying, like that, right? And that would connect it. Why is it add a delay? Why isn't this working? I don't see a signal even going in. Why is there no signal going in? Did I put the repeater backwards? Okay, I did. So yeah, why would I want to put it towards where it initially starts rather than where it ends? Now you retract it twice. Yeah, I'm noticing something. It pulls the block in and pushes it back out, but doesn't push it further into the second area, does it not? Like I get the block out here, but then I guess it still sticks to it. right, let's go take a look at the 3x3 tutorial. Because you still use only one of the two signals. Let me take a look at this video. Let me study what they do. Man, Redstone has a higher learning curve, that's for sure. Compared to Create, like Create is more intuitive. Okay. Let me turn off the music in Minecraft. Your brain's gonna explode, by the way. It probably will be. It's already exploding on this sheer concept.
By the way, so if you're on Java, this probably won't work. So
wait, if I'm on Java, this probably won't work. Wait a second.
Just like so. We can walk them through.
Okay, so I'm noticing in their initial build, there's a piston in the middle that pulls the block, but then is that not a slime block that's pulling the two bottom corner blocks, bottom left? Because it pulls it down, it pulls it to the left. Alan, hey Woozy, how are you doing?
Just like so. We can walk them through.
I just realized too, they're using more than 9 blocks. Like, there's more than these 9 blocks. Don't know if it'll work. How are you doing, Woozy? We're trying to learn redstone, and I have to say, it's very complicated. My brain hurts.
How to build a 3x3 piston door in Minecraft. Here's all the stuff that you'll need. Alright, so go ahead and place down a dirt block with a redstone dust on top of it. Then grab one of your observers and place it facing the dirt block. Make sure the arrow is facing in this direction. Then place one of your droppers here with another dirt block next to it, and a dropper observer facing this dirt block.
Working on a text for my longest webtoon ever. Ah, checking out my YouTube shorts. Ah, nice. Sounds like fun. What do you mean by your longest webtoon? Are you making a webtoon?
Like that. Grab 2 sticky pistons and place them just like this. Then dig down a bit and place the normal piston facing downwards like that. You can then replace these blocks here. Place a dirt block on the side of this piston just here, and then 2 above it like this.
I mean, my longest webtoon episode. Ah, that sounds like fun. You're making your longest webtoon?
Dust just here. Remove this dirt block here and place 2 sticky pistons on top of the observer like this. Followed with a dropper on top. And then
honestly, it feels like for Redstone, I just have to use tutorials to build things. I'm trying to understand the core concept, but even like looking at what he's building, I'm having a hard time understanding what he's doing.
2 repeaters on top of these observers, and then the first one should be set to 1 tick, and the second one should be set to 2 ticks. Now head over here and then place down 3 temporary blocks like this.
Observers will send a signal once they see a change.
2 sticky pistons.
So would the observers? So then the observer is sensing the change in here, which makes sense.
Underneath like that, and then removing this temporary block.
Epic conclusion for a fight. The next episode is afterwards. Oh, nice. How many chapters in are you? Well, like what chapter is this? Is it like the end of arc?
Place down 3 blocks like that, removing this center one. Pop an observer on this top sticky piston up the top right here, and then a redstone dust underneath it. Grab some dirt and place 2 of them like this on the side of this block, and then place another one above it. Remove this block here, and then place redstone dust on the top of both of the dirt blocks. Grab 3 sticky pistons and place them all facing the center of the door like this. And then a similar thing to what we just did, place another sticky piston facing the center of the door.
The question is, why is there so many observers? I'm trying to figure out, like, why does he have so many observers observing everything?
Facing the center just here. Alright, so we're nearly there.
What does the observers do? They send a signal, but then does it send a signal allowing it to activate other repeaters or other pistons? Is that what's happening here? So all it takes is just one initial movement and the observers.
The door should close, and
the observers are essentially sending the signals.
Obviously, you can hook up the lever to a
okay, I think I kind of understand what's going on here. So the reason the pistons are activating is because the observer sees another piston pulling in. So it's a sequential action, right? Is that what's happening here? Activating orders. Okay, so it's a sequential action. It's not happening all at the same time. It does step 1, step 2, step 3. So then, like, say, I didn't, like, see how it opens the door, right? But I'm guessing what they wanted to do. Here's my theory, right? Based on the surface level. So, basically, you want to set up observers. That way, when it finishes pulling from the side, the observers tells it that, hey, this side has finished pulling. and then that signal goes up here, right, to these pistons up here, which pull up here, which this observer tells that this side needs to start pulling over, right? Nope. All at the same time is impossible. Okay, so that's where the problem was lying then, because I was trying to figure out how to move everything at the same time with the last thing going at the last set, which I think might be, I guess that might be possible, but that sounds like it would be more complicated. Right now your signal is being sent the wrong way. I see. So then that still begs the question, how does the middle block get moved? Arrow is showing horizontally, you should be going upwards. Okay, well I just put the blocks in there just temporary, just to get an idea. But how does that get the middle block then? That's my question. So how does the middle block go? Let me see. I want to like observe how that goes in slow motion. Like, where does that middle block come from? The double piston trick? I'm gonna play this at very slow motion to observe how that middle block goes. Okay, so looking at it, he pulls the lever activates it. Wait, can you push 2 blocks with a sticky piston? But then how does it remove that block? Huh, I can never do advanced redstone. I don't think I can either, but I'm trying. I'm giving it the old sailor try. But then how do you remove it? Okay, so then how does he, if he turns it off, how does it work? So it pulls to the left and pulls down. Okay, so then what's happening on the bottom left? Pulls to the left, pulls down. Pulls to the left and pulls down. Pulls to the left and pulls down. So then the middle block gets pulled downwards. That block gets pulled to the left and pulled down. So no pistons are getting moved in this, by the looks of it. My brain is actually kind of blowing up right now. Do you think if I watch a bunch of mumbo jumbo videos, I will learn how to do redstone? Okay, so that's the middle block, right? I'm trying to figure out, like, I'm just trying to study. That pulls it up. Those pull it to the left. It might pique your interest since you wouldn't practice. Yeah, I think maybe I had to like observe some mumbo jumbo stuff. Because this 3x3 door is kind of perplexing me. Like, I understood the 2x2, but the 3x3 and the piston movements is what's confusing me the most. Like, at least I got the 2x2. Tee. That's a lot further than I thought it would. Look, it works! 2x2! But the 3x3 is a thing that's a little more perplexing. I can't imagine a 4x4 too. You know, but I think I learned a little bit more about redstone, the biggest challenge, than you go by 4x4. The thing is though, I want to try to put more applicable creations out of redstone that's not just doors. Like, I guess I want to try a item sorter, but I imagine an item sorter would be really complex. Then I'm trying to think of like what else could you do? Like maybe automation? Like how much things can you automate using redstone? The slower it becomes that opening? I see, because it's sequential after all. Like, what kind of things can you create with a redstone? Like, in terms of automation? That's what I'm kind of curious about. Because like, with create you could do a lot of, what's it called? You could do a lot of creations, but now that I know how to do some of the base things, I'm trying to think about like, what can I put the application to? There's a lot of motion and movements. In fact, before we go, let's see if we can figure out how to make a flying machine. I have no idea how to make a flying machine, but let's try it. Let's see. We need a slime block. Always see the slime block. Okay. I imagine the slime block has to pull it in, right? You check the state of how much a plant has grown. Send a signal, then destroy the plants, and then replant them. But that wouldn't like necessarily allow it to kind of like, what's it called? Replant the tree, right? Like cut the tree down. I know there was like something I saw that was really cool where they take the tree and then they push the logs down. I don't know how that worked, right? It was really cool because it sends a signal all the way up to all the pistons to push it down. Something like, let me see, piston. How do you send a signal to a bunch of pistons vertically? Like if I want to make a piston wall, right? Say I want to do that tree thing. How would you send a signal upwards? Like, does this activate all the pistons? No, that only activates one of the pistons. I think you could plant it with the join thing. So if I want to like actually activate it, I would need to have like a staggered staircase, right? Wait, what? Interesting. But then if I did put the redstone here, it deactivates it. Unless I use redstone, right? So if I did this, can this go up? And then this goes up? And then I could do... Wait, no, that doesn't activate it though. Do place on the side of the block? Let me see. So what if I did it like this then? You're close. Does this activate it? Okay, so then I could do that. So that's how you go vertical then, right? That's how you would make a vertical signal. But then why does this cut out? Why does it cut out right here? Do I have to replace this with a redstone torch? No, wait, no. The signal below would deactivate it. Place a torch on the right row. Right row. Like right here? No. No. Because I want one torch to... Now? Now? Move the redstone on the right row. Move the redstone on the right row. So move it to the right instead of to the left. Rather than having it behind it. Remove! So I put it to the right, is what you're telling me? I can't tell if you're like having a typo or not. So then I go to the right is what you're saying. On the right row. Okay. Is that what this is called? A redstone staircase? Or a torch staircase? Oh, torch staircase. Torch staircase. Gonna look how to add shadows. Alright, good luck. I hope you do well. So when you say a torch staircase, no, that wouldn't work. Then put on the left row only one redstone. Interesting. Okay, so if I did this, like you were earlier. Okay. Then like this. Man, I can't imagine doing this on survival. Or do I have to like stagger it across? Like this? And then I could have one down here? Wait, oh. Maybe if I did it right here? No. That's not a torch going upwards. Because what I want is like not necessarily a torch, but a signal. I want a signal going up. So if I had like say right here a lever. Why is this not connecting now? Okay, so now it connects. How does vertical... No, it doesn't connect. How does vertical even work? Do I have to like do a spiral staircase? Is that what? In order for me to go vertical? No, because then that will block the signal. Unless I just do this, right? I mean, that's one way to go vertical. But I imagine there's a cleaner way than just this, right? Because then now I have a signal that goes all the way up. And then I could connect that easily here, right? And then I could connect this over... That would cut off the signal. Vertical is something complicated too. Man, my head hurts. I just want to make a vertical staircase. If I did this though, it cuts off the signal. Okay, now we have one block missing. Huh? How does that work though? I see a picture that you made, but how does that work as a staircase? How does that even work theory-wise? Let me see. Because if I did that, and then I have this block go here, and then I did this, and I do the block up into that, okay, and then I put the block here, and then you put the redstone, right? So you know how if you place two torches it cancels? Yeah, so wouldn't it cancel it? Wait, why wouldn't that cancel it? Because isn't it because there's a torch below it? Huh? I don't understand how come that doesn't cancel it. The redstone doesn't get canceled? Is it because it's redstone and not a torch? No, but a redstone signal does cancel that out, doesn't it? Or is it only redstone torches that cancel it out? The block on the left. Remove the redstone on the left and you'll see. When you say left, do you mean like this one? Wait, huh? How does this work? Why is this still getting a signal? Hey? But why does that get a signal? Huh? I don't understand, honestly, that part. But I can't turn it off now. But I guess I could turn it off if I... That turns everything off? No, that doesn't turn everything off. While the torch on off. But the thing is, I want the whole thing to turn off with one signal. So that makes a vertical line from there, but that doesn't make it so that I could turn it on and off. Redstones only carry signals? Okay, interesting. While torches are on-off things, like levers. Okay, I see. So then now, let's see if we can find a way to make it so that we can make a vertical line, though, that turns on and off. Because I wanted to make it so that this this signal right here will turn it all off. I hope watching Mumbo Jumbo will give me like the bare essence of how this works. Oh yeah, I forgot, it has to go on the block below it. Like, does Mumbo Jumbo go over all this, teaching you how like these blocks actually interact like this? Okay, so now that we have that, we need to connect all the signals onto this one line, right? So that connects that. But I can't put a block over here, can I? No, I can't. But something's peculiar here, I'm noticing. Okay, because this sends a signal above it, right? So then if I do something like this, like that, can I do something like this? Because I need to get these two ones on the top in order for me to activate it. Is my only solution just building a staggered staircase like this? I guess that kind of works. Surely there's a solution. Well, if there's a solution, I don't know of it just yet. But here's what I remember seeing. It was really cool, right? Let me see if I could try to recreate it. Grass block, right? And then oak saplings, and then bone meal. Like I saw that like people farm for their trees like this, so they bone meal it, or maybe they have like observer, right? And then like they take they do this, they push it down, and then they put another sapling, and they bone meal it again. Something like this. I don't know how it necessarily works, but they made it. I don't know how it works necessarily, but it's like that, and then it grows to another tree, then they push it even further. Yeah. I guess it took a lot of bone meal for that. And then they just cut all the trees together at the same time. Why did it take so much bone meal? Is there something I'm missing about bone meal? Like sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Does it just need to be very vertical for it to work? But that's what I remember seeing about someone's like automated tree farm, so they don't have to like get messy with the tree, and they just keep pushing it further and further. Not enough places to grow, so it needs a lot of bone meal. I see. Okay, so what you're saying is like if I do something like this, I need to make a taller piston, right? Because then the taller piston means a taller tree, and then it'll just keep pushing it down, right? And then after this is all here, they just get like a tree, they just get an axe and they just start cutting it down. Honestly, while I do like the way Create looks, I do love dumb gimmicks like this. I think the dumb gimmick on how this works is just silly. Can't you do that with like cobblestone too? Like you can make a, let me see, I got an idea. Okay, I got something, right? I'm starting to cook with redstone, okay? Can we do the same thing with, say, a cobblestone generator, right? Where we use an observer to observe it, it sends a signal, and use a piston to push it? Can we do something like that? Right? So, like, what if we had this? We have a... And then we could just make a long line of cobblestone. Like, as inefficient and dumb as it is, it's... I think it'd be really kind of funny to look at. Like, the whole point of this is not to be efficient, it's just to be aesthetically pleasing, which is what I really like about Create. So if I could do something like this, right? So let's put the lava first. Let's get a bucket of water in there, create some cobblestone, right? So then if I break this, a cobblestone will generate. Shoot! How does... Do I need to do it like that? I think I need to do it like that, right? I forgot how to make a cobblestone generator. Give me a second. Okay. Oops. There you go, right? So then we could put like a piston, right? Piston. Would this work in theory? Right? Let me see. Let's make a timer too. So whenever we turn it on. Okay? So then I found it. What did you find? Alright. The torch elevator? Okay, you have to show me. That way I could start using, so I could use that in the future. So then like I would have a lever here, and then we'll have it like on a repeating timer, right? So we'll need a comparator. Okay. And then we'll need a repeater. Okay. And then we'll get a lever. Oops. Okay. Let's get a lever. Okay. You know what I do hate though? Okay, have you guys heard of torch or TNT duplicators? I actually don't like the idea of a TNT duplicator. Oh, is this going too fast? Maybe it needs another one. Wait, is it going too fast? Okay, maybe... Okay, let me see. Maybe the torch, the signal thing has to be here. The repeater. Okay. Okay. Alright, so... Oh gosh, I forgot how comparators work. I didn't use it enough times for me to remember. Okay, so if B is stronger than A, the output is C 0. Okay, so I need this to be stronger. So this has to be a stronger signal, which means this has to be a weaker signal. Okay. Does it need to be slower? How does tick rates work? But yeah, I would do something like this. The idea of it is so stupid, but just the fact that I could like make something like this just makes me laugh. Oh, it can't push any further? Oh, it has a natural stop-off point. Interesting. Like there doesn't need to be a reason to do this, but I think it's just fun to do, just the idea of doing it. You know what I mean, chat? Like sometimes that's just the case with redstone. You don't need a reason to do something like this, but it is just funny. It's aesthetically pleasing too. So it's like, okay, I better get my cobblestone. Is there something that pistons don't move so I can make like a stop-off point, like obsidian? Like if I put obsidian, is that a stop-off point where pistons can't move it? Okay, what items can pistons not move? Sent you how to do it? Okay, because then like I could do like this, right? And then I could just like break the block, and there doesn't need to be a reason for it, right? So it's like, okay, I need some cobblestone. Turn that on. So then if I needed cobblestone, I could just like boop. Would be how to extend them and retract them. I see. Like there doesn't have to be a reason, but I think this would be really fun. It's kind of slow though, and inefficient. I guess technically it is slow and inefficient. If only there was like a way to automatically break cobblestone. Is there a way to automatically break cobblestone that's not TNT? Because I don't want to use TNT dupes. I want to avoid using TNT dupes as much as I can. I don't like the idea of abusing a TNT bug just to automate things. But I don't think there's a way to break blocks. No auto mining? Okay. It's so slow and inefficient. But I do like it. I like the way it looks. It's just silly and dumb, but I don't think there's any practical use to it. Like I try to think like, what could I do out of this? It would be funny to do something out of it, right? Like the thing is too, like with this, I could set it up to an observer where the observer plants the, like I could have like a dropper that would deploy bone meal or maybe even saplings, and then like I gotta use the observer to like automatically push the trees down. So all I have to do is like put the saplings in there, something like that. But yeah, I think this would be a fun idea. All right, I'm starting to think with cobblestone or redstone. It's a neat thing. But boy, is it complicated. Just like look at all the things that I did here. It's pretty complicated. I'll practice some more redstone though. Like I said, I'm more of a person that learns by doing it. So if I practice it enough, then I'll start learning how redstone actually works. It's just like create. At first I didn't understand create, but once I figured it out, it's complicated, but it's pure logic. I think the thing too is that's not helping me is the fact that I still barely understand these parts and pieces that make it up. But I do kind of want to learn how to do redstone. That way, when VTcraft has another server, I can make stupid redstone things. I just want to make stupid redstone things. And I kind of, like, while I do like create, I do like the idea of taking out create. That way, I can, like, use redstone as a substitute for create. The thing is, though, I do like create aesthetically. I wonder if I could, like, combine redstone with create to make some cool things. How objects works. Okay, I'll have to like read through it then and like listen to videos talking about it, because right now as it is I barely understand it. But thank you guys for coming. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream as much as I did. It was interesting learning redstone. It was it's definitely a lot. It's a lot, but I think it is doable. It's not as complicated as I thought it was, but it's still pretty complicated, honestly. Even just something as dumb as this. I better start practicing. Maybe I should like spend some time at night to learn. 2x2 done, not even close. You'll see. I'll grind it off stream and learn. But I want to try to make, the thing is too, I want to make practical things out of redstone. I don't want to just make like decorative things with redstone. I want to make things that I will actually like make use of, like an item sorter, some sort of automation like for trees, like some sort of way to automate like logs. So like this system right here to automate the logs, right? Maybe something to automate cobblestone. I don't know. Like, I think it'll be really cool. Okay, wouldn't it be really cool if I have this go out as far as possible, and then I set an observer to push it downward, right? So that way I can make a wall of cobblestone whenever I need it, right? So it'll make a, let's see, in theory, I'm guessing it could push 8 blocks out. So in theory, it makes a full stack of cobblestone, right? So that instead of like just mining all the cobblestone I need from like a single block, to make it more aesthetically pleasing, I'll set it up so that way an observer goes right here. Oh, I don't have an observer in my inventory. Okay, pretend it's an observer. So once it hits the cap point, the observer goes here, it sends a signal over here, or somewhere above here, and it tells all the pistons to push it downwards, right? Start easier, going harder. Yeah. That's my plan. That way, instead of like having like one spot to mine the cobblestone, I'll have a wall of cobblestone. And the cobblestone will kind of replenish itself, right? Because as long as it's on, it'll always push the blocks down. Like, I think that kind of dumb things would be kind of cute to have, personally. Like, I may not be able to automate it, but I might as well make it look really kind of appealing, right? That's my guess. And I'll have to think about other ways to approach things, because I kind of want to make other things with redstone that makes a nice look. Second thing you could do is make a second wall of cobblestone to make it thicker. I guess you're right. Oh my gosh, you're right. I could make a cobblestone cube that I could just like dig into like a little mouse, because essentially I could make another wall of pistons and push it backwards. I guess that'll be actually pretty neat. Yeah. It's like the cobblestone room, right? The thing is though, wouldn't it suffocate me? Because like, imagine if I go in there and I start like eating away in the middle of it, and then suddenly it starts pushing cobblestone into me. In theory, while it sounds like a cute idea, it won't stop unless I turn it off. I would have to have an on and off switch. It would only do it above you. I see. I guess that makes sense. Yeah, then it could just be pushing upwards. Okay, I see what you're saying. Instead of pushing it downwards, it should push upwards. That way it doesn't suffocate me. Okay. Alright, but now's a good time for me to jump off. Could also F with the system since the destroying the cobblestone could trigger the observers. I guess that's true too, yeah. But the thing is, it'll always have a cap. It'll always stop at 10. And if I put like obsidian or whatever it can't move, I could always make like a cap limit to where it builds, you know? So it could also be something as cute as like a 3x3x3. So it has like a little 9x9 cube that I could just break constantly, right? So then like I could make it so it always forms a 9x9 cube. What the heck? Why are enemies spawning? Wait, when did the day cycle stop? What? Wait, what? What's happening? What? I didn't turn off the day cycle. Why did it suddenly become nighttime? Why is there phantoms already? How many days has it been? Is my game haunted? I played for 2 hours and suddenly became nighttime. Alright though, now's a good time for me to jump off. I hope you guys enjoyed today's stream as much as I did. We played, we tampered, we thought, we thick, we thinked, we dunked, and we got a lot of stuff out of the way with this. But with this knowledge, I hope to practice it more off stream. You know what? Maybe I will take out the create mod from the cobblestone thing. 20 ticks equals 1 second. Okay. But then why is that? Why did it suddenly become nighttime? I thought we turned off the day cycle. Let's see who's online. Let's go find someone to raid. We can raid Ruka, Kyle, Jeannie's online. She's playing Expedition. Hey Ashke, you missed it Ashke. We're about to end stream, but look at all these dumb things we created. We tried to study redstone. I tried to be a redstone builder. Hopefully one day I'll figure this out. It would be really cool. And like if Create ever explodes or never comes back or something happens to Create, at the very least I have redstone that I could fall back onto for creating things. Alright, let's go. I guess we could always raid who could we raid today? We raid Genie the other day. Then again, it's very late. I don't know if I want to raid somebody right now. My brain kind of hurts. I guess I could just drop you guys off, but I don't think there's... No, I won't raid for tonight. I'm tired. I don't feel like talking. I feel antisocial right now. So yeah, thank you guys for coming. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream as much as I did. We kind of learned a lot about redstone. I feel like I haven't mastered it, but I did learn a lot about it. Grandpa's tired. I know. You know what they say? You can't teach an old dog new tricks. So hopefully this old dog can learn new tricks. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the stream as much as I did. Tune in tomorrow. I'll be working on more commissions. And then on Friday, it's only started working like 20 minutes ago. Oh, dang. What happened to your Minecraft? But yeah, the thing is too, like Create actually adds some interesting like redstone components. Like there's actually wireless redstone on the Create mod. So like, I know you guys say it's cheating to use the Create mod, but the Create mod has wireless redstone. Isn't that cool? Even if I don't use the Create aspect, maybe I should use the redstone aspects. But we'll see, we'll see. I do want to learn more about redstone and try to do some more fun things. Wireless redstone isn't redstone, but it is. It's cool. You don't have to worry about like connecting it. You can just press a signal and it shoots a signal to the other one and it turns on the signal on the other side. Ooh, fancy. And the thing is too, you know how like there's a repeater here like this? There's a component there that's just a single repeater. So like I don't have to make a comparator repeater the whole time. What the heck was that? Alright, but I'm gonna end it here. I'm gonna probably call it a night. I'm gonna go get a snack and probably relax on the couch because my brain is hurting. Thank you guys for coming. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream as much as I did. Tune in for next Minecraft because next Minecraft we're gonna be doing Skyblock. Skyblock on Hypixel. I kinda wanna see what Skyblock looks like. Maybe I'll jump onto Skyblock off stream. I'll see. Because I kinda wanna like try to learn more about it before I do it on stream. See what we could do funny on it. But we'll see. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. I'm gonna jump off here. Thank you guys for coming and tune in tomorrow. When? It's not gonna be next week because next week I'm gonna be gone. So it's gonna be the week after next week. So I would say around like July 11th on a rough estimate, somewhere around there. Minecraft Wednesday. We'll do it around there. I haven't touched my forever world in a while too. So if anything, I'll change my forever world back to a redstone world or just Cobblemon world. Because I do want to keep Cobblemon. No matter what, we're keeping Cobblemon. But if we can take out Create, that'll be interesting. So when my off weeks are, hey, what a coincidence. Then we could all enjoy the Hypixel together. You're gonna be the tour guide. You're hired. You're officially hired for the tour guide for Hypixel. All right, wait, was this a good idea to do? The grind of this game mode? We'll see. I enjoy a grind, and I think it'll be fun to grind. But yeah, I'm jumping off here. Thank you guys for coming. I'll see you guys next time, okay? Tune in tomorrow for art. Bye, guys. You take care of yourself. Have a good night, okay? And then, yeah, Friday's gonna be Undertale. Vote to kill. Bye, guys. Bye-bye. Bye-bye-bye.